First, we'll talk to a man who is very, very giving of his time. A guy who's been in town, out of town, back in town, and a guy ready to get started for spring training. He's Jackson Stephens joining us here on the Fan 680 93.7 FM. Boy, these pictures keep coming through here on Braves Fans. Good to see you, Jackson. Thank you for joining us today.
Man, it's good to be here. How y'all guys doing?
Doing all right. You are a guy, I will say, you have to be appreciative because your story, when you start writing it is going to have a lot of stuff early. Cincinnati Red, and then you become an Atlanta Brave, and then you get designated for assignment, then you get broad bat, then you get a chance to get some postseason play, then you get a chance to come back from Braves Fest. There's a whole lot going on. First thing for you, what's it like to know when you get designated for assignment by a team, but they still want you back? How is that? What are those conversations? What are those emotions like as a player, just as a person?
I mean, it's what it is like this is all a business. So you have to understand the business side of things. And I love it here. Like, I love the guys in the clubhouse. I love the coaches. I like Alex a lot and everything, the fans. And, you know, when you get designated, it's kind of like, man, like, that's not good, right? But then all of a sudden he's like, well, we want you back. Like, just know that we want you back. Just hold on for a little bit, and then it goes to, like, you got to think of yourself as a player and as a business, and, like, you got to kind of work that. But that's why we have agents, thank God, because I wouldn't want to do that all on my own. So, but luckily I'm back here. I never wanted to leave. This is a great spot for me. Growing up a Braves fan and everything, this is where I want to be.
In football, they tell you to turn in your playbook. Do you have any sense that that's coming? Do you have like a picture of Alex Anthopoulos with an evil mustache that shows up on your phone?
No.
Can you feel it, or is it just completely out of the blue?
No, it's just like out of the blue. Like, you never expect it. It's kind of weird. But nah, man, I don't have anything negative about Alex. Alex has been the most honest guy I've ever met, like, when it comes to in this position and that he's in, and he shot me straight every single time, and I can appreciate that. So it's great.
What's it like playing for this organization in particular? You played for the Reds, and then now being here. We had Pierce Johnson on earlier, and he just talked about the difference. Mindset, mentality, coming in, ready to work. What's it like being here on a day-to-day basis?
Exactly what he says. So, like, everybody has, like, a standard, right? There's a standard here in Atlanta. You know, we want to win the division in the East, and – you know, growing up a Braves fan, you see that. You was kind of groomed that way. But now it's like when you're here, it's all about, like, I need to worry about what I need to do to get better today and be the best I can be. And then everybody's like that. So then everybody holds you accountable to that. And then it's just outside of that, like, we're all boys. And it's just so refreshing that you can just go into the field. You know you're going to get your work in. You know you're going to get stuff done. And then you're going to compete because the end goal is way higher. So, you know, unfortunately, like, you know, I was drafted by the Reds. I don't have nothing against the Reds, but this is just a lot different feel here than it has been over there, for sure.
You mentioned coming in and winning the division. That's obviously the goal, the first of many goals every single year. But you guys have done that 6 years in a row. You've won a World Series. Like, consistency in this game is probably the hardest thing day in 100%. And day out. I don't think people realize that. But to be in a position like you are, you mentioned Alex, to put this organization in a spot where year after year, you know, really, it's cliche, it's World Series or bust, but what is that like as a player, knowing that you guys are set up not only now, but for the foreseeable future as well?
Right. Yeah, no, it's really good, man. It's really good. I think, you know, I think you hit the nail on the head. Consistency is the hardest thing in this game, whether you're a player, whether you're a pitcher, hitter, you know, anything that you can think of. And the fact that this organization is consistently being in the talks of winning the division every single year and then being in the playoffs, because, like, you know, the first goal is to get, like, win the division, you're for sure in the playoffs. And then when you get in the playoffs, it's now like we're not just going to try to win the first round. We're going to not try to win the second. We're going to go all the way to the World Series, and we're going to win. That's the expectation. But it all starts at, like, you have to start one step at a time, and the first step is to win the division, for sure yourself in the playoff picture. But, I mean, I think that that's super special with this group, and I think that, you know, there's a lot of guys signed to long-term deals here. And you don't see anybody leaving, and it's a good group of guys too. That's the other thing. It's a really good group of guys. I think you see what kind of players you have, not just last year, because we were really good last year, and it was special. But I think the year before that, when the Mets were right down our throat, Philly was pretty good, and here we came along. We just kind of chipped away, and then we took it from the last home series. And I think that was really special to watch because it shows you the grit. It shows you everything that we care about, and I think it goes back to the expectation of each other. Like, we know we're good, so, like, if we do our job as an individual player, it helps everybody else out. And It's perfect.
How hard is that as a team? As radio hosts, maybe me more so than them too. I'm already looking to October because I know how good you guys are. As a professional,
He doesn't even want to see the first game of the season.
as a professional, you obviously can't do that, but you guys do have a lot of huge goals down the road. How as a team do you keep that mentality that it truly is baseball, day at a time, go out, do your job, inning by inning, and then that'll get you to the places you want to be, where I want to see you in October and have this place jam-packed?
Yeah, I mean, I think look at it from, I can only speak for myself. I look at it as in, if I start seeing something past what the next day is, that's when you start being worse.
Okay.
So, like, for me as an individual player, as a guy that, like, whenever I've done that in the past, I don't perform like I should. So I take it one day at a time, one pitch at a time. And, you hear that for a pitcher or whatever. But, like you said, this might be cliche or whatever. But, like, if I can do that one pitch at a time, one day at a time, and take and control what I can control one day at a time, then the end goal is going to be a lot better. And then that keeps you on track and you don't kind of veer off that little track a little
Braves
bit.
pitcher Jackson Stephens joining us here on the Fan 680 93.7 FM. You got good stuff. You've been here before. You have great teammates in the bullpen, some veterans around. What do you want to improve upon? Communication with your catchers, moments in games, when you're trying to just get a little bit better to do what you can to help the team. What do you concentrate on this season going into spring training?
Honestly, like last year I dealt with some injuries, and, now it's like I'm feeling a lot better. Everything's great. So, therefore, like, now it's like, okay, let's get back to what I was in 22. And I think I could be better than what I was in 22. I think there's some pitching, like, you always are able to learn. If you're not able to learn and you're not able to grow in the game, then you're just going to get left behind. So, like, and that goes for every sport and at any time. So, for me, there's some things like pitchability stuff. How can I command this part of the zone a little bit better than I have been in the years past? What can I do to keep building off what my strengths are? And that's my goal right now, So going into spring training, like I've been working, we've been doing our off-season programs. We've been kind of throwing and getting ready for spring. Now it's like, can we translate that into spring? And then when you get to spring and it translates to there, that's when it gets really good. And not to be scared to be able to try those things in spring training, because that's what it's there for. But then you also don't want to get into something that you're not successful at. Now you got to go back to, okay, I gotta make this team, so I got to go back to what I did well. So, but I think for me, it's just a couple of things with the zone that I want to attack that one area in the zone a little bit better, and I want to be able to get certain left-handed batters or whatever out with a different pitch or something. How can I be better off those guys that see me a little bit better?
We were talking off the air. You are a college football fan, which I love, one of my favorite sports.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, well,
boy.
we don't like that so much.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was. Maybe it was Stephen A. Smith this week said you guys are trust fund fans because all the younger Alabama fans have seen nothing but greatness.
Not me. I'm 30. I was there. I was watching the Tide roll, not really roll, with Mike Shula. So
Okay.
therefore,
Oh, boy, yeah. Okay.
that was
All right,
tough.
You're vested.
You did
I'm
see the Mike
I'm
Shula.
in there.
How do you deal with being a fan, like, outside of when baseball season's over? Are you locked in on a Saturday afternoon
Yes.
like the rest of us sitting in front of
Yes.
the TV, drinking a beer, screaming?
Yes.
Okay.
I still do it for basketball too, because
Okay.
I love watching basketball, particularly college basketball.
Okay.
My dad's a basketball coach, so I know basketball. So I'm always going to cheer on Alabama basketball. And now that we have Nate Oates and they're pretty good, and especially last year, I was devastated last year when they got beat by San Diego State. I was so ticked. I was like, oh my God, that was the year. But yeah, I'm invested in both those sports, like a lot. Like Saturdays, I'm watching the Tide, and doing something constantly to get ready for the game, and then like. Oddly enough, my wife's an Auburn fan, graduated at Auburn. So we have
house divided.
yes.
Oh,
We had
man.
1 week out of the year, it's tough. But Alabama beat Auburn in basketball last Wednesday.
That's right.
Oh, I was rubbing it in. I was like, yes, go.
I'm married to a Saints fan, so 2 weeks out of the year we don't talk.
Oh,
like
wow.
literally, she goes in one room and I go watch the Falcons play. So yeah, have to deal with that as well.
Well, we
Oh,
appreciate
man.
your time. Being injured and then getting back healthy is something that, everybody roots for. And you got good stuff. When you're healthy, you got good stuff.
Appreciate
and you
it.
certainly can be a great part of this rotation. So hopefully everything goes out your way, and we look forward to seeing you at spring training and hopefully in a postseason scenario as well.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Jackson Stephens joining us here on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM. He's like
He's
one of these
guys'
guys.
guy. Yeah.
He's a guy's guy, and he's like mirror because he's not old, but he's old school, but he's new school too.
I like that. That's good for me.
Yeah, he's great. Did you play basketball before we let you go? You said you did as a coach.
So I played all 3 sports in high school.
Okay.
And I was a pretty good football player at quarterback. I would say I was pretty good. I had good players around me.
I'm gonna say, I'm sure you had a good arm there.
Yeah.
I was pretty good. I had some NFL players on my team, and then basketball, I loved it because for me it was like this is my not as good sport, and out of the two, baseball and football, and I had to work, and it was like I loved the grind for it, and then I just knew the game of basketball because my dad was a coach. Like I just knew how the game worked. I would, you got screen and pick, you got a pick and roll situation, you got a pick and pop, you got all that kind of stuff, and finding zones or whatever. I loved that, and then all I was a shooter, and I could rebound pretty well. But other than that, I wasn't very good, but I just loved it.
Well, we'll ask you about your defense next time. Maybe we can have you about the Hawks.
I'm not that good.
Especially on a guy that came through town last night. Did you see that? Luka dropped 73 points. 70.
Luka's good. Why does he look like he's in slow motion all the time, though?
Oh, man. He
still
plays
doing
like
it.
he's from the 70s.
He's built like me, and that's not a good thing.
Well, Jackson, we thank you for your time, and we look forward to catching you
Yeah.
up down the road. And we certainly will root for you spring training and beyond.
Appreciate it. You have a
Jackson
good one.
Stephens. He's now one of my favorites now.
Oh, yeah.